Okay, and welcome to the video where we're going to talk about the number one problem I see guitar players struggle with, and that is timing. This is the one thing I kind of evaluate all my students on first to see where they are, as far as, does your timing need work or not? It's almost always your timing needs work because everybody's timing could always get better. And, I'm living proof of the fact that it's hard to even know if your timing is bad or needs work or not. I can remember several times in my life where I had some really embarrassing experiences where I thought my timing was okay and it was just hot garbage. So that's the last thing I want for you in your guitar playing, because if your timing's not, if you don't have control of your timing, then nothing else really matters. You could be the best lead guitar player in the world, but if you can't play in time with a band or a metronome when you're recording, then what good is it? So I'm going to show you an exercise that will help you get your timing in order. And the cool thing about this is it is a very effective exercise. You'll see it's really fast at diagnosing if you have a timing problem and getting the road to recovery or correction established within, a couple of weeks. It can take you a few months to really get this ironed out and get your timing really polished up, but you can see results from this exercise fairly quickly, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Like 5 to 7 minutes per practice session with this will do a lot. Now, you have to use a metronome when you're doing stuff like this, because if you're just playing on your own and kind of making your own time, something like that, then you might think everything's cool, but as soon as you bring in an outside force that does not move, that is very consistent, we'll go 70 beats per minute here, then all of a sudden what you thought was good can be terrible. So the main thing that we're going to do here is just start to heighten our awareness of whether our timing is on or not. And one big tool that you can do to kind of diagnose this is to just film yourself and listen back with a critical ear, and that's exactly what you want to do. And since we already went over our strumming technique in the last video, you should have that down, so that shouldn't be a worry for this. So let's take a look in here. What we're going to do is just play downstrokes on quarter notes. Hopefully you can hear that. I'm not even going to worry about my left hand either. Separate the challenge here. Just down, 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 down. You really have to listen and say, am I right on the beat? Am I a little bit ahead? A little bit ahead there. And one tip that I have for you to help you with this is if it's a little bit rough for you, one thing that I always hear in my mind when I hear a slow tempo like this, I divide the beat in my head. I hear 8 notes. And that gives you kind of more mile markers so you can know exactly where the beat is. That just makes it easier to stay in time. Another tip here is to move a different part of your body besides your hand, like your head, or tap your foot. That'll help you be aware of the groove, of the time, and it'll help you stay in time. Just be more conscious of it, right? But this is, like, if this is all you can do and this is all the timing you ever fix, this is a great place to start. It's not all we're going to do here, but it's a good place to start. So another thing that you're going to want to do is do the exact same thing with upstrokes. And if you went through that strumming video with me, the upstrokes are a little bit different of a challenge. But this will help kind of divide the challenge again here. Just thinking 8 notes in my head. My head's moving along to the beat. Again, this is 70 beats per minute, just quarter notes strumming. But separating the challenge of downstrokes and upstrokes, it can go a long way in just making you aware of where you are in the beat and if your timing is on or not, right? So those are the first 2 little exercises. And let me just say this, the goal of this is not to have perfect robotic timing. The goal of this whole video and working on your timing is to have control over your timing, because playing with a metronome is like shooting at a target that's not moving. And playing with a band is like shooting at a target that is moving. You have to be able to do both as a musician. And whatever situation you're in, if you're aware of your timing and you've developed it a little bit to where you have control over it and you can adjust to tempos and things like that, you'll have the tools that you need to either play with a live band or play with the metronome. Okay, the next little part of the exercise here is to throw in some 8th notes, and we need to be able to hear. This is the kicker. This is where things really get real. We need to go from quarter notes, just downstrokes. I hear 8th notes in my head and switch to 8th notes. back to quarters. Once you feel comfortable there, switch it back to eighths. Okay, and that blip or the transition from quarter notes to eighth notes is really going to tell you if you're internalizing the beat or not. And that is the main goal here. If you can do that, I would say you're doing pretty good with your timing. You need to do that with downstrokes and with upstrokes. So here's ups. Back to quarters, 3 and 4 and quarter. Right? So do that with down and upstrokes by themselves. And then this is where things start to get kind of next level. So work on that for a little while. And the next level for this exercise is just doing eighth notes to where you're alternating down and upstrokes. So if you have quarter notes, let me turn this back on. If you have quarter notes, 70 beats per minute with downstrokes. If you notice, my hand is already making the upstrokes that I need for my eighth notes. I just need to dig into the strings. So quarter notes, downstrokes. Right? And this may be pretty tough at first, but that's okay. Working on that transition and really smoothing it out and getting it down from taking a few seconds or a few bars to sink into it to just milliseconds to sink into those eighth notes is what you're going to be shooting for. And it may take you 2 or 3 weeks of working on this, but again, the good news is you don't have to spend a lot of time on this every day. 5 to 7 minutes is more than enough. Now, for those of you who are like, oh, this is easy, I've already got this, you can also do this with 16th notes to see how that's going too. So you can start off, right, which is quarters, eighths, 16ths, right? And if you're thinking, well, that's way too much, think about this. If you're doing eighth notes with all downstrokes already, like this, you're already doing the upstrokes you need to play 16th notes. You're just not digging that pick into the strings. See, my hand, nothing, if you had the sound off of this video, nothing would change. My hand would look exactly the same. So just think of it like that. You're already doing the strokes you need, but you have to keep a relaxed grip on the pick like we talked about in the strumming video. Otherwise, playing that fast, down, up, down, up, down, up, is going to be, your pick's going to get caught in the strings and you're going to run into some problems. So keep all of the strumming technique tips in mind as you work on this timing exercise. Okay, I know that's a lot, but take it one step at a time. Just start with quarter notes, and when you can do that, go to quarter notes and eighth notes. And then we can do that, go to quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes, bouncing back and forth between them, really working on that transition, ironing out those transitions so you don't fall out of time at all. And again, one of the best ways to check yourself here is to video yourself and watch it back, listen with a critical eye and ear to see, my timing's pretty good, or like, oh, that's not as good as I thought it was, and you'll just be able to work on it from there. Okay, commit to 5 to 7 minutes of this a day for the next few weeks, really for the next few months to iron everything out perfectly, but you should start seeing some good results within 2 or 3 weeks if you're consistent with your practice, and work on this multiple times a day if you can. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us for the rest of this course, or go to guitarfam.com better and create a complimentary account and start going through the Guitar Foundations course there. It's free for you.